mighty tub.
Ah, right.
Received with the skidder. We duck out, we find this little room where Richie can't see us.
Real nasty eyewear being worn by Tubby.
Well, at least I've got socks on.
Well, you'd be better off not with the current trend, Tub.
What's wrong with that?
You got your black sneaker, your black pant, and your white Nike sock.
The tennis sock.
This one from Jay. You've heard of air conditioning, but have you heard of ONLYFANS? I don't think Tubbs has that.
Should we just go with that being a play on words and move on? Roots. Big pad forward. Stays straight. Caught nicely by Carey behind the stumps. No run.
And these people follow you, do they?
Do you know what ONLYFANS is, Tubby?
No.
Well, you said you're recently on the gram.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Is that the next level up? Yeah, right. No, we're not going there. We're not going there. We're offering a multifaceted service at the cricket today. You've got cricket on in the background. You've got fan chat on all sorts of levels. Here's Nisa and pushing Milan onto the back foot. Punches it into the covers. No runs.
So you've never heard of ONLYFANS, Tubbs?
No.
It's an online account. It's just a system. I think you'd get a lot of followers.
Yes.
Yes. So instead of people just following you, Tubbs,
Right.
they actually pay to follow you.
Ah, right.
Yes.
Yes.
But the kind
yes.
of content that's getting more paid for.
Oh, right.
Yes.
More unfiltered type of fan.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes. Has become particularly popular.
Right. Hey.
Yeah. But not to say you can't put your fishing pictures up there and see if people pay for it. But it works better if you're in your underwear.
Right. What if I was in my underwear holding a nice Australian bass?
Well, you'd want that nice Australian bass to be, covering something probably.
Right, okay. So,
I haven't seen an account like it. So you've got your market. At the moment, it's being flooded with the usual.
2 steps in the gully. Forward goes Root. Head down. Holds his position. Defensive. No run.
It's the cod covering your cod.
I'm just trying to think the sort of fish I'd need. I don't think I'd need a kingfish, but that way.
Fergs, Hads has been talking about a slight technical deficiency with Alex Carey. I've noticed a technical deficiency which I'm loath to bring up with one of our fellow members.
No.
I'm not at the right level to do it because this man captained Australia.
Right.
Cummins, Crawley. I'm not a fashionable cat, Fergie, you are. But how would you feel if a man that made 334 against Pakistan rolled up, Hads, in a nice black pant and a nice black sneaker, but just peeking out between the black pant and the black sneaker
Don't tell me.
is a white sock. Now,
No!
I know, Fergie. I know.
No!
It's just so wrong on so many levels. I'm not
Howie.
going to bring it up with him.
No, this can't be right until I see physical evidence.
Well,
Tubby, tell me it's not so.
Cummins to Crawley. He works it away, hits it sweetly. He's in good touch. It's another boundary, gets through bowl, and so Crawley moves to 40, 1 for 50. The great former Australian captain is here. Now you can see it on your Zoom, Ferg. Tubby, what have you done this morning?
What's wrong with the white
Oh,
sock?
and this is even worse. He doesn't realise it's a bloody mistake.
I'm going to get off there. I'm not dealing with this very well.
Hads, I don't blame you.
Well, at least I've got socks on.
Well, you'd be better off not with the current trend, Tub.
What's wrong with that?
You got your black sneaker, your black pant, and your white Nike sock.
The tennis socks,
Mate, I'm
they
not
usually
seeing-
change later this afternoon.
I'm not seeing John
Gee
McEnroe
whiz.
or Novak Djokovic
Boy, oh
wearing
boy.
that. I say something to him, Ferg. I can't because I haven't played for my country, but you have.
Tubby, do better.
No good. Okay, right.
Do
So
better.
I've got to work on my socks for next test.
Well,
Thank
Righto,
you.
I'm working on my socks, all right? I'll take that on board. You can always improve.
We're talking about Tubby Taylor finding out who's going to be Australian captain. He was on his mate Peter Taylor's farm, the off-spinner. The board gives him the tick, and then Ian McDonald, the man in charge, rings you. Then what happens?
Yeah, so all he does is ring up. Peter Taylor answers the phone. He says, put Tubby on. And he says, Tubby, you're it. I'll ring you later. And that's it. And hangs up because he's worried because it's a mobile that someone's got can obviously connect through to his phone and hear what we're going to say. He doesn't want to...
Root works it 4 to square, times it really well.
Oh, yeah.
times it beautifully. In fact, that was just a flick of the wrist from the England skipper, and it rolls to the rope. Root moves to 13, England 2 for 48.
Yeah, so he doesn't want people to know that I'm the captain because it's not going to be announced until the following day. So he rings me, he goes home, rings me back on a landline, and then tells me the full story that I'm the captain. He's booked me on a plane out of Moree the next morning. I've got to be at the airport at this time, blah, blah. Peter Taylor takes me to the airport the next morning in some 1971 diesel semi-trailer, I think it was.
More runs for Root, this time backward a square. Should just be a single, and it is. He moves to 14, 2 for 49.
So I'm sitting with the suit on this metal seat. It didn't even have any seat cover on it. Dumps me off at the airport, so I'll see you later tonight. So I fly back to Sydney, go through the process of meeting the media and giving my thoughts on the team, what have you. Go to the SCG for a photo with my baggy green cap, which they bought someone else's in because I didn't have that with me. And then go back to the airport, fly back to Moree, went to Cascade Restaurant that night, had a few beers and a bottle of champagne, which they put on, which was terrific.
Milan's beaten on the inside. It thunders into the thigh pad.
And then spent the night at Peter Taylor's farm for the next couple of nights, and then went to Glen Innes after that. Had a beer at the pub there, and some guy thought he recognised me, but wasn't sure if it was me. And ended up making my way across to Grafton in northern New South Wales with all these people just thinking, what are you doing up here? Aren't you the captain of the Australian cricket team? You should be here, there and everywhere. Well, I was in northern New South Wales at Gurley, Moree and Glen Innes, and then Grafton.
Hey, I've got a question. How did you react when the 12th man got you? Because you got them all. Here comes Wokes. 5th ball the over, and Labuschagne lets that run off the face of the bat, but again, no run.
Like all of us, I think, you didn't mind it. If anyone's taking the mickey out of you or imitating you, it's very flattering, really. It means that you're doing something that it has got their attention. And so really it's just advertising. And you look at Tony Gregg and Bill Laurie, they loved it because it got their brand out there. That's what it did. Those 12th man tapes, though, and Gregg in particular, Tony Gregg loved them.
Root flatter and turned around the corner again. Just picked off easily by Smith for one.
Yeah, his last one I think was called Boned.
Yes.
And I remember when it came out, I was with Greggy at the time, and he rang Billy Birmingham straight up, the 12th man, and said, Billy, we've got to get that Boned, mate. You're going to send me a couple of copies, and I'll take them to the commentary box.
Root again angling down the leg side, again milked for a single. They're going to give Labuschagne this 100 easily. He's to 93 now.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of these copies of the CD sent over to Perth, and Greggy went out and bought himself what do you call it, ghetto blaster.
Here comes Root. Tosses that one up and clipped on the leg side, but straight to mid-wicket.
And so we took it into the commentary box at Perth, and Richie wasn't a huge fan of the Billy Birmingham stuff, so we had to try and hide it from Richie.
5th ball the over. Again has Smith tucking it behind square for yet another easy single.
Yeah, so we duck out, we find this little room where Richie can't see us, we put it all on so we can listen to it, we're laughing, but we couldn't laugh that loud that Richie or something might have heard us.
Warner fends outside off stump. He's beaten 29 from 90 deliveries for David Warner. Very circumspect, Mervyn.
Now, what we're going to do
yes, Merv,
is keep Mark Taylor away from Davey Warner.
Why's that?
Because Mark Taylor had to talk to him about opening batting last night, and boring as bat crap, isn't it? Get on with it.
It is Taylor-esque, isn't it?
Oh, actually, if Taylor's batting now, he'd probably be 12 not out, not 29. Let's get fair dinkum.
Not really a radio gag either, but
no.
If David Warner starts wearing Mark Taylor's sunglasses, we've got real problems. Real nasty eyewear being worn by Tubby.
Wasn't it?
Punched away through the vacant gully region for a single. Australia 1 for 61. You're real sort of 1980s type set.
Well, most service stations would have knocked them back.
It's got to be said, for people that can have seen Terminator, the original Terminator, it was sunglasses that he wore.
Oh, gosh, that's generous to Mark.
Yeah,
I think that's generous to Taylor.
Oh.
I don't think Hasta La Vista Baby would have been that intimidating with those glasses on.
Right, so now I'm going to put this to you, and then I want an answer. I don't want to sit on the fence. I want you to stew in it over the break. Who is your favourite opening partner? Think about that.
So my favourite, I've got to say two.
Well, I'll tell you my favourite first to put you off the hook.
Yeah,
I love watching you walk out with Slater.
Yeah.
Like, I love Swampy Marsh
Yep.
and what you did in '89, but when Taylor and Slater would walk out, you'd have you getting the job done, and Slater, DeFreitas first ball, the Ashes, bang, 4. He'd get you up and about with Michael Slater. Smith drives through the offside, and this time it beats the fielder again. That's the second time in a row it's got past. I think it's Jimmy Anderson there under the goggles. Smith gets another single, 3 for 108.
Yeah, well, they're the two names that come to mind. Jeff Marsh was my first opening partner. We had a terrific 1989 Ashes series together and a couple of good years together. Slats and I go back to Wagga, Michael Slater. I played with his brother, Julian Slater.
Was he any good?
Yeah. He was our under-14s Lake Albert Cricket Club captain.
Was he?
Julian Slater, yeah. And Michael was only about 8. He's sort of 5 years younger than me. And he was a pest because he always wanted to play with us in the backyard. We were trying to get rid of him.
It didn't work.
Yeah, so to go on and then years later open the batting with Slats and an Ashes series and big Boxing Day test matches was great fun. We actually, after the 93 Ashes tour, Slats and I went back to Wagga and they had a ticker tape parade down Bayless Street and Fitzmaurice, I think, are the two main streets.
For the two of you?
The two of us, after 93 Ashes.
That's nice work. Harris facing Stokes with a couple of slips and a gully and leaves it alone.
Yeah, so a bit of a shout out to Mick, who's struggling at the moment. People who obviously follow the cricket news will know things aren't going
Keep in touch with him.
Yeah, so I hope he's listening. I hope he's well and getting better all the time. So,
absolutely.
It was great fun to open with. As I say, we're very different characters. Slats was that aggressive right-hander and I was the stodgy left-hander.
How did you used to handle him when he got into the 90s? Because he did get knocked over in the 90s quite often, Michael Slater. He used to break my heart. Harris facing Stokes again. Would he get frenetic? Would he get upbeat and up-paced during those 90s, or it was just unfortunate?
Slats was always frenetic.
Right.
Yeah, it just he got more frenetic.
Right.
What it was. The eyes rolled a little bit more in the 90s, yeah. But I think because he was so passionate about the game and playing the game, that he'd get to that 90 and he'd all of a sudden he'd start looking at the scoreboard. And those last 10 were like murder for him, where, the first 90 were just, hit the ball and enjoy it. All of a sudden he's no, I'd like to get 100.
So, as captain, obviously you had some tremendous successes. Was there a point, what was the hardest part of your captaincy is what I'm trying to ask you, Tub? Whether it was selection or your own form or team not playing well or pressure from the media, what was the hardest point of being captain of Australia for you personally?
I think my own form at times was the hardest bit. I had a bad run in 97, 90, Mason 97. And that is the hardest because you can't get away from it. You're always asked by the media about when are you going to make runs. In batting's one of those things. You only need one good ball or a bad shot or a bit of bad luck and you're out. It's not like being a bowler where you can bowl a number of balls and find yourself back and forth. So I had a bad run. That was probably the hardest bit. And occasionally letting players know they weren't playing, particularly someone like Michael Slater. Dropped a couple, got once in my captaincy time. That was really hard because Slats and I had such a good combination going.
So a conversation like that, we might need to pass this into the next over. Are you just up front with a teammate and a good mate and just say, listen, the runs aren't there? Or do you try and give them encouragement that you're going to work your way back into the team? Or how do you go about a conversation like that?
Exactly, as you said, you try and do what you can. You say that, the selectors have decided to leave you out and, and obviously everyone's disappointed and shows their disappointment in different ways. But try and offer them, next ball's just defended down, no run. You try and offer them a light at the end of the tunnel. Get some runs and we'll get you back in.
He comes in now. Full ball. Ball! Straight through Labuschagne. What a delivery by Stuart Broad. And what a moment. Labuschagne and Head were taking this away from England. And that has completely bamboozled Labuschagne, who has slipped over. He has fallen on his face. And he's seen his middle stump bent back. And Labuschagne, well, what has he done there, Tub? He's walked across his stumps again and he's paid for it this time.
Great Alan Border on last week, and he was talking about his fantastic 7 for 46 at the SCG when he knocked over the West Indies.
Yeah.
And he said, to be honest, all Test cricketers can bowl a little bit. He said even David Boone could turn the ball, but he said the one Test cricketer he played with, he said most of them would bowl in the first or the seconds. He said the one bloke that would not get a bowl in even the fourths was you, Mark Taylor.
Oh, you're kidding.
He said you're the only bloke he's ever played with that cannot bowl.
Very astute judge he is, a very astute
We'll
judge.
get Ethan to pull up my test stats in a minute.
Okay, we'll pull those up. I don't think it'll take long.
And I mean with the ball.
Righto.
Okay, now where he's going here,
Yep.
where he's going here, he actually bowled in Test cricket, and you know why?
Why?
Because he was captain.
Well,
That's the only way he's going to get a bowl.
I said that last test. If you ever get a chance to abuse power, go ahead and abuse it. But mate, you know, I said I'll let the stats do the talking. That's what
Talk us through that triple bouncer in the PM's game when you knocked over Angus Fraser.
I saw him coming.
Triple bouncer.
2 bounces.
Triple bouncer.
Got him 2.
Half volley.
Woke to Labuschagne with slip and gully in. Squeezed it away on the leg side. No run. 1 for 133. Triple amount of Condor stats. Mark Taylor's bowling figures. Thank you.
Mark Taylor, 104 Test matches.
Yep.
1 for 26 career figures.
How many overs?
7 overs.
Who was the poor bunny?
I'll get that up shortly.
Rashid Latif.
Rashid Latif.
Deceived with the skidder at the front of the hand.
How did he get out?
Skidder, yeah.
Was it slider or skidder?
This is interesting. Caught Bevan at mid-wicket.
So he smacked it.
No, it was done by the skidder.
Was he?
Got him on the stickers, cramped him up.
Right.
See you later, Rashid. My first nickname when I came into New South Wales side was Stodge.
Stodge?
Yeah, because they was considered a stodgy opening batsman.
Okay.
Occupied the crease, that sort of stuff. And then Greg Matthews, I was telling this story earlier, that we sat down on, it was a rainy day in Sydney, and they didn't like Stodge. Greg sort of went, MT, Mark Taylor, MT, Mighty Tub. Mighty Tub. And it just became Tub. Tub or Tubby.
Tubby.
And it's stuck ever since.
Were you ever offended that you were Tubby?
No.
No.
He leaves alone outside off stump. Now, Tub, what I want to ask you about, I was thinking about this. As I said to you previously, when Triple M were all excited they'd signed up Mark Taylor, I thought, yeah, he's a good line and length. I've seen him for years on Channel 9. He's very professional, very polished, and he's got great opinions. But I didn't know that you were one of the great entertainers that were obviously just playing the TV role beautifully. I used to love watching you on Channel 9, and those blokes are my heroes growing up, listening to all you blokes, and then Richie and Bill and Tony. What was it like when you first stepped into that commentary box?
I couldn't know what's the right word. I was going to say confronting. It wasn't confronting, but it was almost like you're on debut in a test match team.
Yeah. Butler leaves at 1 alone. So how long out of the game were you when you first went in?
First season.
First season. Straight into a test match?
Yeah, pretty well.
Did you roll out some mercantile mutuals first, or what happened?
Just a couple.
Right.
Yeah, well, I finished playing in January of 99.
Yeah.
Signed up with Channel 9. You had to do that through Kerry first. So you had to go and have lunch with Kerry and had a good bit of a barney with him.
And did he sort of give you a view of what he wanted you to provide?
Not really.
Right.
I was waiting for that, but no, all he got was my opinions on the game and what have you. And then he said, well, and we shook hands. Then he said, well, maybe we could, we might sort something out.
So that was a trial run, a bit of an interview.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Wow. Start to Butler. Oh, that seems back, but again, he leaves it alone without problem. 6-1-60. So you got the tick from him.
Yeah, I got the tick. So then it was Gary Burns was the old head of sport. He then sort of said to me, mate, you're right. So we'll get down to the contract. Got that sorted. Then there was the World Cup. I think Australia played the World Cup, 1999 World Cup.
Oh, yes.
So did a couple of games from a studio on that. And then
so that was in England, which they went on and win.
Yeah, they went on and win. I was over there for the final of that. And then the following season, I'm in the commentary box, So
for the first test?
Yeah, for the first Mercantile Mutual. Right. Sydney Oval, you go in there to start with, and then I'm up at the Gabba for the first test.
So do you roll in there nervous on the first day? Like, this is Bill, this is Richie, this is Tony.
Yeah, and
then Tubby.
And that was the first bit, and then the second thing I'm thinking, well, what do you do? What really actually happens? So then you get this roster, and Heels and I sort of joined together. You get your half hours, and we only got like 1.5 hour every session. That's all we got. Not too many first up.